Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the N2N Podcast. I am your host, Dr. N2N, and as my friends affectionately call me, the prolific ninja, or just ninja, because I want all my listeners who like this podcast to be my friends. You can call me Ninja too. This is the N2N Podcast, the alpha to the omega, the beginning to the end, where we discuss life, inspiration, motivation, drive, achievement, entrepreneurship, and offer food for thought for this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. This is the inaugural N2N podcast. I've never done a podcast before. I've never been on a podcast before. So bear with me as I learn and go through the process. But to say that I am excited and thrilled to be here doing this podcast would be a complete understatement. I'm so stoked to be here. But in full transparency, to say I'm not a little anxious would be a complete lie. I am anxious, not because I'm nervous. I mean, I have no problem with public speaking, but because this is the first opportunity for me to voice my thoughts into the universe and hopefully capture the attention for those that would want to consume this. So that's pretty cool to me. The N2N Podcast also is a special day as we're recording this episode, this first episode. It's my mom's birthday. She's turning 76. And I am forever, ever grateful for her. If it wasn't for her and my father's courage, determination, the risks that they took, I wouldn't be here today doing this. So happy birthday, Mom. I love you so much and thankful for everything you've sacrificed for me. Before we get into the substance of this inaugural podcast, I want to share a little bit about me and my life experience. That way it gives you a better perspective from where I'm coming with regards to the ideas and thoughts and suggestions that I'm going to offer to you with regards to this podcast. I was born in Vietnam, Saigon, Vietnam, South Vietnam at the end of the Vietnam War. So it kind of gives you a sense of how old I am, even though I look a lot younger, as I'm told, than I actually am. I'm the youngest of four boys. The reality is I probably was an oops baby. But we are a refugee immigrant family. We came to America when Saigon fell to the communist North regime in Vietnam. My parents were very well off in the homeland over there. And when Saigon fell, they literally dropped everything, packed up the kids. And, we were on literally one of the last barges to leave Saigon with nothing. I can't even imagine what their thought process was. In their 40s with four boys, young toddlers, and an infant going to a foreign land where they didn't know the language or the culture. But we ended up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, sponsored by a Lutheran community, my extended family, so to speak, and I'm forever grateful and thankful for them, where we got acclimated to American culture. Again, I was just an infant, so I don't remember much. We ended up in Houston, Texas, in the late 70s, and this is where this podcast is being recorded today. So the Lone Star State, I love Texas. And my parents essentially achieved the American dream, the refugee immigrant success story. They busted their ass working 2 to 3 jobs each to raise a family and save up some money. In the early 80s, they saved enough and took out a loan in order to set up a printing company in Houston. And again, they busted their ass. And that's the environment that I grew up in as it relates to learning and cutting my teeth on owning a business and entrepreneurship. Over the course of their 20-year career, I would say they were very successful as a small mom and pop shop, earning several millions of dollars in revenue, employing 40 to 50 people on a routine basis. Again, this was in the 80s, so that was quite a bit of money at that time. And again, that's the environment I grew up in. So whereas my friends in elementary school and junior high would be going to summer camps or sports camps or whatever, my brothers and I would be going to, quote, the shop is what we called it. As a kid, I'd be doing menial tasks, sweeping floors, whatever it took in order for our family to benefit. And that's the environment that I grew. So thankful for the risks that my parents took, and that's the environment that I grew up in. Because of the business, none of my brothers went to college. And as the youngest one, one of us had, should do it. So that was me. And, as a youth, my father inspired within me that witnessing the war in Vietnam, and when family or friends were quote unquote captured by the North Vietnamese, he would see them being put into re-education camps or concentration camps. And when we came to America, as I was growing up, my dad said, hey, you know what? Um, you need to excel at education, because once something is in your head, regardless of your external environment, you're in a re-education camp or whatever, once it's in your head, no one can take it away. So I took that to heart and excelled as much as I could in education, especially in America. So I went to college, ended up going to medical school and being trained as a physician. Took a detour when I finished medical school and went to law school and picked up also a master's in finance. And so excelled as far as I could in education, in honor of what my father told me. And so today, I'm an entrepreneur and an attorney based in Houston. Have my own law firm, which we are looking to expand in other areas of the country, but we have a nationwide reach, and have several projects ongoing, businesses ongoing in various industries, including healthcare, IT, media, sports, and entertainment, moving into some crypto and blockchain projects. And these are projects along various timelines. So some are conceptual, early stage startup, all the way to market ready. Surrounding these verticals also have different assets that support these ecosystems. So, so that's a little bit about my life story along this podcast series. I'll dig deeper and hopefully give you a more in-depth view of my world, so that you can learn from it and I can share it with you. But, these are experiences that I hope to share, and knowledge that hopefully I can convey and communicate to you, so that, we all can live to our fullest potential. And which leads me into why I'm doing this podcast, or what this purpose of this podcast really is. But before getting into the purpose of this podcast and why I'm doing this, I want to talk about success for a minute. Success is a relative term, right? How I define being successful, or what success is different from what you would define success as, or what your friends or colleagues, or my friends and colleagues and family would describe as being successful. There's a worldview, or to some, success means, living in that mega mansion on the beach and having a warehouse full of exotic cars and having that jet. And those are certainly indicators of success. And those are things I aspire to do, or to own, or to achieve. But at the same time, success can be measured in intangible ways as well. It could be, using your influence to inspire or coach a youth sports team, which I do. I coach my son's basketball. Or it could be helping a family member achieve their dreams, and that would be qualified as success. But that's to say that success also comes with failure. And for me, I've had various successes in my life, and I've had tremendous failures in my life. I've made a ton of money, and I've lost a ton of money. I've had to go through adversity, which everyone does. That life journey, on balance, you have to have success, or have to have failure, in order to have success. And we'll talk about that in a future podcast. But success is a relative term. And not only is it a relative term, but it's a moving term as well. In other words, you set up goals and you achieve it, which would therefore be a success. But once you achieve that goal, you set up another one. So success evolves over time. So not only is it relative, it evolves for each of us individually. So one of the purposes of this podcast is that I want to share my experiences and the wisdom gained through my journey thus far, to hopefully inspire others on their journey to success. Maybe, someone can learn, having gone through a same or similar circumstance as me, to help themselves out. And so success and inspiration for success is a purpose, is one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast. To help me with this, I'll occasionally bring on a co-host or other guests to explain their versions or their journey of success. People that I would say are more successful than me in other areas or aspects of life, and people that have overcome a significant amount of adversity so that I can learn through their experiences to help me become successful. So that's one of the reasons I want to put this podcast out there, is to inspire others through their journey um, of success. Another reason I want to share this podcast, or I'm doing this podcast, and let me just say, it's not like I have an abundance of time to do this podcast, but I feel this is a calling or a need at this particular moment in my life. So I'm allocating a lot of time and investment for this podcast. But another reason for this podcast is that in my personal journey, it's a journey of success. I am not even 1/10 of 1% as far as I want to be on my success journey. I've got a long, long way to go. But I want to invite you as a listener through this podcast series to join me on this journey so that we can document issues that I face, challenges, adversity, problem solving, and address these issues going forward so that jointly we can help one another on our success journey, however that is defined for you, and then how that is defined for me. So I want to share a lot of the lessons and philosophies that I've gained through my past life, or through my life to this point, and share that with you. I mean, yeah, just to give you an example, not many people have gone through the experiences I've had. Having, for example, in my medical training, I've delivered 17 plus babies. I've had my hand literally in someone's chest, pulsating their heart to try to keep them alive in the ER. Seen life and death and all the emotional expressions in between. In my legal field, have seen catastrophic loss and tremendous gains, where justice was properly, administered for what was fair. So just these different worldviews, different experiences I want to share along this journey of success so that together we can all be successful. And then for the last reason I'm doing this podcast, I want to talk about the opposite of success, which is, of course, failure. To me, I think the biggest failure in life one could commit is not living up to their fullest controllable potential. And that's a very generalized statement, but I feel that God or the universe or whoever you believe in has instilled in each and every one of us unique talents and gifts, different views, a way of thinking, a way of seeing the world that is our potential. And it's our duty or our job to actively live towards this potential. And in not doing so, I think that would be a failure of our journey on Earth, on this planet. And so for me, I feel that God has instilled with me certain unique talents and gifts and worldviews and ways of thinking that my potential, or to fulfill my greatest controllable potential, is to inspire others, inspire a multitude of others. And let me back up for a second. When I say fulfilled controllable potential, that means one should be active in controlling or taking action on the variables within their control to achieve their fullest potential with the gifts and talents that you've been given. There are a lot of things that are outside of our control, coincidences, macro issues, just circumstances that are beyond our control. But even within that framework, there are things we can control to live up to our fullest potential at that time. And so I think failure to do that is the biggest failure one could commit. So for me, like I said, God has instilled with me certain talents and gifts, and worldviews and ways of thinking that I feel to fulfill my greatest potential would be to inspire and motivate and bring positive impact to as many lives in this world as I can. And I truly believe we can do that. I truly believe I can do that. I want to inspire and motivate and bring positive impact to billions across the world, if I can. And to others, that might seem like a lofty pie in the sky, what are you talking about goal, or you can't do that goal. But the reality is I really don't care. I believe what I believe, and that's what I'm going to do. And so, as I said, the purpose of this podcast is to inspire and to invite you on this journey to help me fulfill what I would say is my um, fullest controllable potential, and that we together can live to our fullest controllable potential in helping billions across the world and create a positive impact for these lives and these people. So I invite you to join me on this podcast series to do just that and grow this as a movement to do that. So let's get into, so with all that in the background, sort of, my life, my experiences, the things I've been through, and the purpose of this podcast, let's move right into the substantive part of this inaugural N2N podcast. So let's talk for a minute about heading into the holiday season, right? Thanksgiving's upcoming, or Thanksgiving is here. The holiday season, the New Year's. I know it's been a challenging time for the last 18, 24 months for a lot of people through the COVID issues, the world politics, the national politics. A lot of stress and adversity has been experienced by a lot of us. That being said, because it is Thanksgiving and the holiday season, I want to talk about a very, very important and necessary topic that is required, I think, to be successful. And that's gratitude. It's gratitude. And, for many of us, we've heard the expression, live with an attitude for gratitude. In fact, I coach that to my players. Live with an attitude for gratitude. I coach that to my staff and employees and team members, even my friends. But what does that actually mean? Why is gratitude so important? So let's take a moment to define what gratitude is as compared to being thankful, right? Because while they are associated, they're not synonymous. Okay? Being thankful, I think, is a very superficial level of thankfulness, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. But thankfulness requires, I think, an exchange for benefit, right? So, for example, I go to a restaurant, I order food, and the waiter brings me my food. I say thank you, right? So, in other words, in an exchange, they served me with food, and I'm saying thankful. There's a benefit of exchange. Or, in simplest terms, somebody sneezes, and I say bless you. They say thank you, right? So that's an exchange of a blessing and thankfulness. And even a simpler term, I receive a gift, I say thank you, right? There's been a benefit of exchange. So thankfulness, I think, is a very superficial, casual, conversational level of gratitude, so to speak. In contrast, gratitude, I think, is a feeling that is more deep and meaningful. It's more soulful when it's expressed. I'll give you the Harvard Medical School definition of gratitude. And it basically says gratitude is a thankful appreciation for what an individual receives, whether tangible or intangible. With gratitude, people acknowledge the goodness in their life, right? And as a result, gratitude also helps people connect to something larger than themselves as individuals, whether it be other people, nature, or a higher power, right? So by that definition, gratitude carries more depth, more substance, because you have to look within yourself to find that appreciation for what is good in life. And oftentimes that's correlated to a source of that goodness, right? Whether it's somebody else, whether it's an achievement, it could be a place, an event, or just an inspirational feeling. Like, for example, I go skiing a lot with my family, and when I'm at the mountaintop, I just feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for no other reason than just being there, observing and being in nature, right? And that's different than an exchange or a benefit of thankfulness. So gratitude is a more soulful experience with purpose. And so how does that help us by being grateful or expressing gratitude? Or how does it affect areas of your life, and why is it important for success? Well, scientific studies have shown, or psychological studies have shown, that there are multiple benefits of gratitude or being grateful to that inspirational level of depth. And so, just to give you a few examples, gratitude increases a sense of well being and self esteem, right? Because it's directly inversely relationship. It's the exact opposite of depression. In fact, studies have shown it's impossible to feel grateful and angry or depressed at the same time. They're diametrically opposed. The neurotransmitters or the chemicals in your brain are opposite. You cannot feel gratitude or thankful and angry at the same time. So through that, you get a better sense of well-being and self-esteem. When you express gratitude in your relationships, right, there's a deeper connection because studies have shown that it's easier to forgive the other person when there's gratitude involved. It's easier to look for the benefits of the other person than being narcissistic about yourself when there's gratitude. So that leads to more satisfying and positive relationships, not with just a wife or a significant other, but with friends, family, staff, employees, whatever the case may be. When you express gratitude, that dynamic of the relationship is deepened. It has more depth to it, and so it's more fulfilling. When you express gratitude, you have a better positive worldview, more optimism expressed throughout your life. So the same circumstance that one could look at negatively, if you express gratitude, you're more inclined to look at it positively, right? Which matters because world or your perception of an event is all between the ears. It's in your brain. So if you express gratitude routinely in your life, you're going to see things from a positive view than a negative view. So take the worst case example, for example, for me. I leave this podcast studio, I get into a wreck. Because of gratitude, I can say, hey, at least this happened to me. I'm a pretty strong person, strong-willed, strong-minded. At least this happened to me than somebody else. At least this happened to me when I have time to deal with it than somebody rushing to an emergency, right? So you put it in perspective that I'm grateful, and it's a more optimistic view on a negative event versus someone who doesn't express gratitude or who has a negative view on life. They would look at the accident and say, why me? Or how come this happened now? You know, these are certain questions or ways to look at the same circumstance, which leads to different mental outcomes, okay? Gratitude has directly correlated to increased happiness overall because there's a positive feedback loop, okay? Follow me with this one. Let's say, for example, somebody does something for me. Even though I'm thankful, I express a deeper level of gratitude, right? Which encourages that person to even do more for me, which then I express more gratitude. So it's a positive loop of happiness, right? Who doesn't like to be thanked or appreciated for something they do for somebody else? So on the flip view, right, I express gratitude. That person feels good, which then makes me feel good, which makes me express more gratitude for that person. So again, it's a positive feedback loop for one another that creates a happier experience through life. Studies have shown there's a direct correlation between expressing gratitude towards life or towards other people or the source of that goodness in your life and self-discipline or self-control and discipline, which as you listen to other podcasts of successful people, influencers, entrepreneurs, discipline and self-control are directly correlated to the level of success that you achieve, right? So if you express more gratitude, inherently you're going to have more self-control and discipline in order to achieve your goals and success. Expressing gratitude reduces physiological inflammation, enhances your sleep, increases your mood, improves your mood over time. So there are clearly mental and physical benefits of expressing gratitude. And in the realm of sports, to my athletes out there, the reason I coach an attitude of gratitude with my players is that there's a direct correlation between expressing gratitude and athletic performance. Players that express gratitude builds pride and better associations with their teammates. There's more goal orientation when the teammates are expressing gratitude towards one another. Hey, you make a nice shot. My son plays basketball. You make a nice shot. You're thankful for the player that passed you the ball, right? So then that assist, and for those that know basketball, that assist encourages that player to pass the ball to you again. And you make another shot, right? And then you pass the ball to them and they make their shot, and you're thankful to one another, which overall builds team morale, goal orientation, pride, and teamwork. So with all these benefits of gratitude, why don't we work on expressing more gratitude throughout the holiday season? And not just through the holiday season, but through our entire life. It doesn't necessarily need to be a time of Thanksgiving, which of course it is, to express gratitude. So ultimately, expressing gratitude is a selfless act, right? It doesn't require any exchange. You can be grateful for anything, and anyone, a circumstance, a job, a vocation, a result. But it's a deeper feeling of emotion. And in expressing that gratitude, it changes physiologically the the chemistry of your body, the neurochemistry of your brain. And it has a psychological, physical benefit, a mental health benefit for an improved and enhanced life. So with that, it's no wonder that gratitude is an essential element. Gratitude is an essential element to learn, understand, practice, and apply in your life to be successful, to control what is controllable in your life, to live to your fullest controllable potential. Okay? So I challenge me to express more gratitude in our lives for those around us. Express gratitude for what you have. Express gratitude for the opportunities that are in front of you. Express gratitude for all the adversity you went through up to your life now, because it's that adversity that defines who you are today. And it's that gratitude that can help define your life as you go into the future. And I want you to join me in this attitude of gratitude to help me fulfill my fullest controllable potential, which is to affect the lives of billions in a positive way across the globe. So that concludes the inaugural N2N Podcast. It was a thrill and an excitement to be here and to be able to share this with you. Thanks for sticking with me through the entire thing. There's going to be a series of a lot of these podcasts that's going to talk about a lot of these issues, talk about my experiences and wisdoms that we can share together. If you liked this podcast or found some value or found this entertaining, please do share this with your colleagues, share this with your family, share this with your friends, share this on all your socials, like and comment on iTunes. That helps us promote and rank this podcast. You can always follow me at The Prolific Ninja on IG and Facebook. We're setting up our YouTube channel where this will be rebroadcast. You can visit theprolificninja.com to learn more about me. That's a one-stop website that talks about all the things that I'm involved with. Specific to this podcast, you can go to N2N Podcast.com. You can comment there or share the video from there, or the podcast from there. Any questions that you have for me, or any comments that you want to send to me directly, you can do it at like yo, what's up, at the N2N Podcast.com. I'm thankful and very grateful to have your attention with me on this inaugural podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more coming up. These will be coming out frequently, hopefully at a fast pace, so that we can go on this journey to live to our fullest controllable potential that we possibly can and become our truest selves. All right? So go get you some. Peace.